Welcome back to Limitless Nerd. I am very happy to have one half of the Force of Others podcast with me today. Matt, thank you so much for being here, man. How's it going?
Absolutely. I'm great, man. Thank you for having me. It's so fun to get to be on somebody else's Star Wars podcast for a change. Love talking
Yes.
Star Wars with cool Star Wars people. So I'm doing great. I am absolutely sky high after the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer that came out today.
Yes.
Feel very vindicated after everybody was complaining about the Super Bowl joke commercial that I thought was fun.
Yeah, I
Because,
thought it was fine too.
like, no exaggeration, this is one of my favorite trailers for an action adventure movie I've seen in like a
Yeah.
long time.
I mean, I even had to throw the Mandalorian shirt on, you know. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, it was an awesome trailer. I mean, if you haven't watched it yet, please go watch it. If you haven't watched it by the time this episode comes out, because as of at the time of recording, the trailer came out this morning, but by the time this episode comes out, the trailer's been out for probably a couple of weeks. So
Yeah,
please go watch it.
if you haven't watched it by now, like watch our conversation or pause us, go watch the trailer and then come back. But I would wager they've probably seen it by now.
Yeah, what are your immediate thoughts on that trailer?
I mean, the takeaway, let's be real for a minute. The takeaway is Embo.
100%.
Like I remember that rumor and I was like, there is no way. But I was wrong. And he looks fantastic. Uh I have so many. I mean, I wrote notes. We yapped all about it on the Force of Others YouTube channel, but so go check that out if you want after you've watched this video, everybody. But
Yes.
I let me try and find any of my life here. I mean, the twins, Jabba's cousins being in the movie makes so much sense. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of stuff that makes sense. One of the things that I think is so cool is Pedro is in the movie.
Yeah, I
I
was
didn't think it was going to happen.
shocked. I
Yeah,
was shocked at how much time just of the trailer we're seeing his face. Like I kind of
yeah,
assumed that we would probably see his face in the movie, but to see that much of it, like multiple scenes in the trailer, that tells me
yeah,
something though. It probably tells me that him getting his helmet taken off is not like a huge point in the climax,
yeah.
so hopefully that means I still feel like they're hiding a ton.
Oh, they have to be because we saw so many different sequences in like everything that we've seen so far, right? There was the oneer shot attacking the at Celebration that we
Yes.
haven't seen since. I don't know if you saw that leaked trailer or were you able to
I
go to Celebration?
no, no.
One day we'll all get there.
I hope so. 2027.
Hey,
2027, I'm crossing my fingers.
me too. I'm growing my piggy bank like as we speak, right?
Yep, yep.
But there was that at Oneer, and that was on the snow planet. Now we've seen him attacking that what looked like that conference room because he walks
Yeah.
in and kills those two guard snowtroopers. We've also seen him and Grogu like scouting that base on like the sandy tropical planet, and I think we saw some more of that fight in this trailer.
Yeah.
And then there's all the stuff going on what I think is Nar Shaddaa on top of the gladiator stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't like maybe even Nal Hutta. The point is, I'm all over the place
Yeah.
right now. There's so much going on. I love that we have no clue what this
Yeah.
movie's going to be. Um,
I I get the sense that maybe the snow planet, I get the sense that that might be like the opening action piece,
yeah,
and then we go meet up with Sigourney Weaver and get sent on what the actual plot of the movie will be.
that would
Is
make
kind of the impression that I get, but
yeah. I mean
yeah,
that
I
you
mean,
might be right. It could be that
yeah,
that oneer shot in the ad is what introduces like that's Din's entrance into
yeah,
the movie.
yeah,
That would be rad.
yeah. And I mean, we were talking about Imbo, and but I mean, come on. If for those people that know their Clone Wars lore, Imbo, voiced by Dave Filoni,
Oh
it,
right.
so I mean that's a Filoni original right there. So he likes to him and
That's
Favreau like to wiggle wiggle their original characters in as many places as possible.
That's a good point. It actually makes all the sense in the world for Dave to want to put Embo front and center in a bounty hunter movie. So, yeah, either way, you can see our reaction. Zach and I lost our minds when Embo
Yes.
showed up. I
Yes.
went full fanboy, more so than
Me
usual.
too. Me
Yeah.
too. So definitely, if you haven't watched the trailer, watch the trailer. There's
Yeah.
trailer reactions on the Force of Others channel. There's a trailer reaction up on my channel. Go watch it. Go see
Yeah.
the movie when it comes out. See it in theaters, because this looks like it is just absolutely. I mean, Star Wars is back in theaters where it hasn't been in so long. It's time. It's time, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird that it will have been 6.5 years since a Star Wars movie came out, which, we sound so spoiled because what, like 16 years passed between Return of the Jedi and Phantom Menace, and then
And then
10
10
between
between, yeah.
Sith and Force Awakens, but still, we're like, we want more Star Wars. We always want more Star Wars. But it'll have been 6.5 years, which
Yeah.
is wild. But there was something
Yeah.
else I was going to ask you about the trailer. Oh, well, I just the biggest thing that makes me happiest about that trailer was coming out of Star Wars Celebration. There were a couple interviews with Favreau and Filoni and Pedro where they were talking about how we've made one of the best action adventure movies ever. And you never know how much of that is just people selling a movie, right?
Sure.
But then I'm watching this going, no, I think they killed it, because there
Yeah.
are so many more sequences than you and I even mentioned just now. Like, what is up with that giant snake thing? Like, what is that, and why is it so, like, just gorgeous to look at? It was so cool and so scary.
Yeah.
So I'm over the moon hyped for that. For that movie.
I'm, it's the kind of thing, it brings me back, with the trailer that just came out, and they just revealed a bunch of the action figures and stuff a couple days ago. And it's bringing me back to, that frame of mind right before The Force Awakens came out, or right before Revenge of the Sith came out, where, you have the merchandise, you have the trailer, the hype is building in a way that I haven't felt it building for Star Wars in quite a while.
Yes.
And that has me which I was excited about the movie anyway. There's a lot of people that weren't until the trailer came out this morning.
Yeah.
I was excited for it anyway. And now, over the last week, with, the Super Bowl ad and the full trailer and the merchandise, I'm just, Star Wars feels like it's back in a way that it hasn't in quite a while.
Yeah. It's good to have hype. Like legitimate
Yes.
kind of everywhere hype about Star Wars again. It makes me very, very happy.
Yeah.
So,
But I want to ask you, because this is, a good place that I typically like to start with these. What is your Star Wars origin story? Where did your journey with Star Wars begin?
So this is always it's kind of a frustrating mystery for me, because I literally don't remember the first time I saw any of the original trilogy. I'm a 90s kid, so it's just always something that I just knew. I don't remember finding out that Vader was Luke's dad. I don't remember watching Luke blow up the Death Star for the first time. I remember having none of those memories for the first time. I just know that I've always been like the Star Wars fanboy of my friend group for as long as I can remember. I remember going to see the special editions in, I think that was 97, and like being in my hometown paper in Denton, Texas, because I was the kid with Darth Vader tennis shoes on. Where those tennis shoes went, I don't know. I was a little kid, but I know that I had them and it was in the paper, and I thought that was cool. So my origin story is that I literally can't remember a time when I didn't love this. And I like to tell this story kind of to make fun of my dad. But I remember there was this one some weekend when I was watching Star Wars for the 10,000th time, right? And I was probably like 10 or something, right?
Yes.
And my dad goes, when you're older, you're probably not going to like this stuff very much. And he was wrong.
Yeah.
Can confirm he was incorrect. So
Yes.
the cop out answer is that I don't remember what my origin story is. It's almost like me and Star
Yeah.
Wars were just we have always been one. So
I
there's my
I I relate to that story in ways that you would never guess. But
well tell
yeah,
me.
yeah, I mean, I got introduced to it when I was 2. So I
Cool.
also do not have memory of a time without it. Um
Yeah,
I have been collecting to a certain degree since I was 3.
that's cool.
So, yeah, and I mean, it was definitely one of those things. I was the Star Wars person in my friend group. Like, if a movie came out and I was like, "Hey, let's go see it," people would go, but it was never on my level, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was definitely one of those things where people would tell me, "You'll grow out of it." It's just no, no. Here we are.
Nope. Here we are in our Star Wars rooms.
Yep, and yeah, I mean, it's I don't have memory without it, and I would not want it any other way.
Right on. Yeah.
But when did the love for Star Wars? When did that translate to? I'm going to talk about this on the internet. When did the when did the content part of it come into the picture?
Well, so my co-host Zachary Owen Turner, he likes to use his full name as he is an actor. He's talented. Hire him if anybody's listening. Um,
Yes.
but he's also one of the best bartenders in New York City, which is why he's not here right now. I would drop the name of the bar, but I don't think he wants me to. But just you might discover him making your drink one day in New York. But anyway, he and we've joked that this podcast is 10 years in the making because we were talking about having a Star Wars podcast back when the sequels were about to come out in like 2014 or so. They were about a year away, but we've been talking about it since then, and life got in the way and we were busy. I've always been the guy that people would, I guess, we say the normies, right? Or to get Harry Potter about it, the muggles, right? That
Yes.
like they might like this stuff, but the force isn't necessarily strong with them. And so when I'll go really, really deep on the philosophy of a scene or what I think it means and what they're alluding to or whatever, people will be like, dude, you think about this stuff too hard. So I've always kind of been the one that's like, well, I got stuff to say about this. It was just honestly just the fear and putting it off of actually making a show. And then it hit me summer 2024. I'm a theater academy director and I do a whole summer camp, and basically I cease to exist for about 3 weeks every July. And at some point over that process, like with anything else in life, when you're working really hard on something, your brain will escape to the shiny thing that you're not currently working on, right? And something just hit me, the force of others, that would be a really cool name for a Star Wars podcast. At least I thought, right? Not, and that's not just a line from Rogue One. In case whoever's listening doesn't know, that was one of the original names for the Force in one of the early Star Wars drafts. And so, "May the Force of others be with you" wasn't just something they wrote for Chirrut to say in Rogue One. That was one of the first things that George wrote for this whole franchise, because the Force has always been about connection. It has always been about binding everybody together. And I thought that would just be a cool name for a podcast. And it is cheesy, I will admit, because everybody always talks about community and the fans are who we do it for and stuff. But something that I kind of came to saying at the end of the show a couple months ago, and I was like, I'm going to keep that. Um, but Zach and I are in a send off. We've always said, remember, the force of others will be with you always, right? But I also started to add to that, we are not the force of others, you are. And that's whoever's watching, whoever's listening. And remember, the force of others will be with you always, whether it's the Star Wars podcast or whether it's your ability to be there for other people and their ability to be there for you. It's about coming together and making each other's lives better, because it's not just about Star Wars. It's about applying it to your life and applying those values of empathy and so forth. So there's my soapbox cheeseball reason for why me and one of my college buddies have one of 10,000 Star Wars podcasts that exists on the internet. Because that's the other thing. I had
Yeah.
no clue how many Star Wars content creators there were.
Oh
And then
yeah.
as I started doing it, I was like, wow, there are
Yeah.
a lot of us. That
Yeah.
is wild.
Yeah. It reminds me of the scene in Rise of Skywalker where Poe is like about to accept defeat and then he turns around and all the ships are there. And Lando's like, there are more of us. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's exactly how it feels. And, it's the kind of thing where I'm so new in the doing the Star Wars content, but already I'm like, I've met so many people and, the
Yeah.
people from the creators that have hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers all the way down to the brand new ones like me. I mean, it's just like the Star Wars content community is, I don't want to say shockingly because that makes it sound like I assumed it wouldn't be, but is shockingly welcoming.
Yeah.
To the point where I can pick up the phone and ask people for advice, or I'll shout some people out real quick. People like Will and Grayson, or people like Hannah Rayside, or Gabe, or anybody really that I can already in the 5 months that this has been a thing go to. I mean, it's not something I expected at all.
Well, and I think, everybody likes to always say that their franchise is the best. But when you have a franchise where some of the cornerstone quotes are, you know, your focus determines your reality, rebellions are built on hope. You always say, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember exactly what Anakin says to Shmi, but the biggest problem in the universe is that nobody helps each other. And like you said, there are more of us. When you have a
Yes.
franchise that its cornerstones are messages of empathy, I think that makes for empathetic fans. Not always, because as I'm sure you know as well, Star Wars fans can be some of the I love all of you, but some of the loudest, whiniest babies ever
Yes.
in
Yes.
existence, right? But then
Yes.
there are also those that Will, shout out again. Will said on Force of Others when he came on, you can look that episode up. He probably said it for you guys as well. But one of his
Probably.
favorite quotes was, a way that he kind of likes to use a Yoda quote to apply to his life is the greatest teacher Star Wars is, right? That
Yes.
Yoda scene from The Last Jedi. The greatest teacher failure is, the greatest teacher Star Wars is. Some of the best life lessons you can find them in this silly franchise
Yeah.
about space wizards and giant talking frogs and stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Star Wars and Star Wars fans have this unfortunate reputation of being toxic and being, but I tell people this all the time. There are people that are like that. They are few.
mm,
Unfortunately, they are also loud.
mm,
But, and it's been kind of a reality check for me, you know, going to something like Rebel Scum Con, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But, and meeting so many people that just, and that's honestly what made me start this show. It was this show was kind of in a similar way to yours. It was a long time in the making. I've
yeah,
had the idea to do something for a very long time, and then it never gets out of here.
yeah, yeah,
And going to Rebel Scum Con and meeting so many people and so many creators that I've watched for years and years and years, it kind of got me to the point where I was like, if I'm gonna do this,
yeah,
now is the time.
yeah,
I have to take that advice that all these people gave me over that weekend and all the connections that I made with those people, a lot of whom have been on this show now. I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, it has to be now. It
Yeah.
has to be. And here we are. This is you know a dozen or so episodes in at this point, and it's been it's been awesome. Just talking to people, and I just want to talk about Star Wars. That's
Yeah.
it. There's no other reason for this show's existence. None
Yeah.
at all.
And
No
that's the
purpose at all.
And that's the best reason to do it. That's enough of a purpose to talk about things that you love with new people and find out it's what the force of others is. I want to get as many varied perspectives on this universe as possible.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of similar stuff that people will say. Like sometimes I can kind of tell. This sounds mean or judgy, but like sometimes I can kind of tell who someone's favorite character is or what their favorite movie is going to be, kind of based on the age, right? Not
yeah,
always, but a lot of the time it's like, okay, this is probably a prequel person. And that's always so fascinating to me because, like I
yeah,
said, I was a 90s kid. And at that time, nobody I knew liked the prequels. Like, I literally didn't, I would have loved to have met anyone else that liked them. But even myself at 13 years old, I remember sitting watching Attack of the Clones going, as it was ending, going, oh no, I didn't like it that much. What does that mean? Oh no. But then, yeah, I talked to people that grew up with that movie, and it works. And so I'm like,
yep,
that's awesome. But as to Star Wars fans loving Star Wars, it's the type of people that will go to Rebel Scum Con or will go to Star Wars Celebration are people that love it. But like I can
yes.
tell you, speaking of loving or like not liking movies or whatever, we did a commentary track for The Force Awakens, and in December, and I put up a shorts just or whatever about how we thought it was the best of the sequel trilogy, right? Like basically every single comment, and I ended up actually deleting several, was calling us stupid for liking that movie. And I think it's the type of person that
I
will
like
come.
I like that movie.
Props. Yes. Fist bumps to you digitally. And I'm not saying people are wrong if they don't like it. That's not what I'm saying. But it seems
Yeah,
like the type of people, and I'm sure you've had to deal with this too, now that you're a creator, that person that'll comment on something hatefully, it's just because they got a lot of hate in their life.
yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
it's yeah. It's the kind of thing where I interact, unfortunately, with so many people at this point that all they want to focus on is the things that they don't like. I didn't
Mm,
like this movie or this show or this character or this whatever, and here's why. And they'll go on a 45-minute rant about why they. And I'm like, that just sounds exhausting. It sounds so exhausting. And I guess I'm just an overly positive person, but are there certain projects that aren't my favorite? Sure, obviously.
yeah.
But I can confidently tell you something, whether that's a character, a scene, a locate, something in every single Star Wars project that I like.
Yeah.
And ultimately, this is just my opinion, and I've had people tell me how wrong this opinion is, but my opinion on it is any Star Wars anything that comes out is a new opportunity to create Star Wars fans. And the more Star Wars fans there are more conversations that we can have exactly like the one that we're having right now. And your least favorite Star Wars thing may be somebody else's favorite. And the
100%.
reason that they love Star Wars and can now talk about Star Wars with you.
100%. Well, and the people, to be mean about it, the people that are telling you you're wrong, they're wrong. Like they are 100% factually
Yeah.
incorrect. Uh, and I think the people that get mad when, like, because I've said similar stuff on the show, and Zach has too,
Yeah.
right? People that get mad about that are the people that are like, "Oh, so you'll just take garbage? You'll take garbage slop Star Wars?" And it's like,
I feel like I know who some of those people are.
oh, we probably do. They might show up in the comments of both stuff. And it's like, well, number one, I am not the determiner of what is good and bad in fiction, and neither are you, dear commenter, right? What works for you will not work for someone else, and what doesn't work for you will work for someone else, just like you're saying. But to summon a Star Wars name that I've never gotten to talk to, but oh my gosh, would I freak out if I did? Sam Witwer had a take about this relative to Star Trek, right?
Yes.
Where going back to the 80s and 90s, there were a bunch of Star Trek movies coming out. And like Star Trek the Motion Picture, not that great of a movie. I'll say. I don't think it's factual. It's just not that great. I don't know if you're a Star Trek guy, but it's kind of a tough sit. Wrath of Khan, the next one of the best science fiction movies ever to come out ever, in my opinion. It's incredible. Hard recommend Wrath of Khan. Star Trek 3, it's okay. Star Trek 4, incredible. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that those are factual opinions, but Whitwer's take was very similar to what you're saying. The next thing that comes out, whether or not it's your favorite, it's good that it comes out and that they keep making more, because you never know what's going to be your favorite thing. And you never know how much you're going to love the next one. So, like, I'm so hyped for Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm so hyped for Shadow Lord, right?
Yes.
I'll be perfectly honest. Ninth Jedi isn't really my thing. I know I'm alone in that. I will still watch it and, like you're talking about, look for things to like and learn from every single episode. But I'm happy that there's more coming to just kind of feed the franchise machine. Am I saying I
Yes.
want the quality to hit the gutters? No, it won't, because that's not what Lucasfilm does, contrary to angry online belief. It's like, was
Yes.
the Acolyte my favorite thing? No, it wasn't. But was it the garbage everybody made it out to be? I don't think it
No,
was. There
I
was a
don't
lot
either.
I loved on that show. There was so
Me
many
too.
things that I loved on that show,
Me too.
and I'm so bitter we're never going to get to see season 2.
Me too.
That like
Me
that's never
too.
going to happen, and it
Me
makes me
too.
upset.
Me
So
too. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm with you. And I mean, a place where all those people that love Star Wars come together is Rebel Scum Con,
yeah,
to attempt a segue.
yeah.
And you know, were you, being in Texas? Were you at the first year of Rebel Scum Con?
I wasn't. You want to talk about like kicking yourself for keeping things in here and not doing. So the big summer camp that I alluded to is July, and I basically cease to exist for 3 to 4 weeks. I'm at my
Yes.
theater from like 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m. pretty much 7 days a week for like 3 weeks. Um, and then Rebel ScumCon was like a week and a half after that first year. And I was looking at it going, it'd be cool to go to a Star Wars convention. I haven't been to a lot. I'm busy. I'm not going to go. And then I saw how awesome it was, and I was kicking myself for the next year. So I was
Yes.
able to go to year 2. Didn't meet you, unfortunately. I did not know who you were, but I'm nice to meet you now.
Nobody did. That's okay.
Yeah, but I had such a fun time. I
Yeah.
was just walking around. It was I do, as someone that suffers from like social anxiety and stuff. I'm
Same
very
here.
much well. Hey, more power to you. We got to hang together for these things. I'm the type of introverted extrovert. I can turn it on when I'm
Yes.
like the
Uh
host of
huh.
something, but if you want me to
Mm-hmm.
just be me, I don't know how to walk up and talk to these content creators that I've just kind of discovered their stuff. Um,
Yes.
and I had talked to Will and Grayson about like they were the only ones that I'd really seen, and then I saw them in the
Yes.
flesh. But the big one was Sam Witwer walked right past me, and I thought my soul left my body. And
Yeah.
we ended up getting a picture with him. That's us right
Yes.
here. And even then, I was like, I'm standing next to Darth Maul and
Yes.
Star Killer. This is bizarre. Um, but I was going somewhere with this, and I think I tangented myself. But all that to say, Rebel Scum Con was awesome. I didn't intentionally meet as many people, but I'm gonna be shameless this next year and just kind of
Yes.
say hi to everybody. So, but I all that to say, I had a great time. It was a great con. I haven't been to a lot of shows, but I have never been to one like that where everybody is just walking the floor, guests included.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Dennis Lawson, Wedge Antilles himself, walked
Yep.
right past me. I turned around, he was there, and I was
Yep.
like, I said, "Do Mr. Lawson?" And he just cheers and kept walking. And I was like, And then I was like, I
Yeah,
should have asked for an interview, and he's gone.
yeah. I have to ask that because the people that run Rebel Scum Con, shout out to them. I've been friends with them for well over a decade at this point.
That's cool.
Josh and Bobby in particular.
Yeah.
But so I always am curious. I mean, it's a local show for me. I'm friends with the show,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of an easy no brainer. I was there at the
Yeah.
first year, and it was fun. The second year, totally new level.
Yeah.
They're already like well on a roll for announcing stuff for this upcoming year 3. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think of what they've announced so far, and what are you hoping? What can we speak into existence that we hope they announce?
I mean, just like dream of dream guests that I've heard rumored. I had, and not that they've said anything to me, but I've just heard rumblings. For me, honestly, Ian McDiarmid would be one of my
Yeah,
dream Star Wars people to get to meet. Like I
for
said,
sure.
I run an academy, so I'm also a theater guy, and just to meet like one of the best Shakespearean actors that's also been in Star Wars, I would geek
Yeah,
out on multiple levels. So that's a purely self-serving thing.
for sure.
I mean, as for other guests, like I got one, Ben Burt. If
Yes,
Ben Burt was to appear, that's for
I'd
like the deep
freak out.
cuts. I
Oh,
would
I'd freak
lose.
out.
I talked about, my soul would leave my body and it would fly away, and
I
I would just be this husk that would walk up to Ben Burt
Yeah,
and just like
I'd freak out.
the guy that is responsible for every Star Wars sound we've ever loved. That, not
I
counting the
would
music, right?
I would freak out.
But I mean, most excited guests, it's probably oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name right now, but the actor that plays Moff Gideon. Um,
Giancarlo Esposito.
like
Yes,
if
he's cool, dude.
have you met him?
Yes, he's cool.
Oh, it's so cool. He,
He's cool.
I don't know if you've seen him, or if you've seen him, watcher or whoever, but his interviews at Star Wars Celebration are some of the best, like juice you up with positive energy about life and purpose and intention and empathy and connection and all the stuff we've already talked about. He is like on my Mount Rushmore of people to get to talk to. One of the
Yeah,
most inspiring creatives I've ever seen talk anywhere.
I will say he walks into the room and like immediately takes command of the room. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he is definitely a very I don't want to say intimidating. I don't know if that's the right word, but I mean, yeah, meeting him is definitely something that you will take with you. Um, he was at Fan Expo Dallas
Mm,
uh, a couple of years ago,
cool.
and I got to meet him. But yeah, no, he's definitely. I'm like looking over at my wall with all of my autographed stuff on it, and wondering like who. I will say I really want Freddie Prinze Jr.
That would
because
be a good one.
he's the last person I need to complete my Rebels set.
Cool.
I have an art piece signed by the other 4,
Cool.
so I just need to add him. I mean, obviously they're bringing back from the first year of Rebel Scum Con, bringing back some of the Mandos,
Yeah.
Brendan Wayne and Latif, and they're both fantastic. Trying to think like who else would really be cool. I've met him before, but I'd love to meet him again. Iman Esfandi,
Oh
who
yeah.
plays live action Ezra, because he's just awesome. And you're talking about Sam Witwer. I have a funny Sam Witwer story.
Cool.
From Rebel Scum Con this past year. They did an after party at Dave and Buster's on Saturday night, and it was for, I think anybody could go, but they had like a side room that was for the staff of the show, the content creators, and the guests. And
Cool.
I was like hanging out, and not really a lot was going on. And then slowly but surely the guests started showing up. And I ended up like standing at the end of the bar having a like 45-minute conversation with Sam Witwer. And then and then
What?
and then and then Matt Wood walked up with David Collins and asked Sam, we're gonna go out there and like play arcade games. Do you wanna go out there? And Sam was like, yeah, sure. And then he started walking away, and then he turned and he was like, you coming? So I have a picture, and it's fun. I'm sitting there playing a game, and Matt Wood is sitting next to me. I'm blanking on his name, but baby Luke Skywalker is sitting right next to him. Sam Witwer and David Collins are standing right behind me, and I'm like trying to very covertly, which it probably wasn't covert at all, take my phone out of my pocket because Carly King is standing right over my shoulder, so I'm trying to like sneakily hand her my phone so she can take a picture. And I'm like, this is never. I need to capture this because it will never happen again.
That's crazy. That was probably, we talk about like, fanboy moments, but getting to
Yes.
see David Collins do the soundtrack show live
Yep.
was Mount Rushmore for me. That was so great.
100%.
And then there was this moment, and we made a short out of it. It was nowhere near as cool as that, getting to play arcade games with them. But we sat down at the I think it was the Dark Side of the Clone Wars panel. It was the one that Matt Wood and Sam Witwer did, hosted by Bobby. But
Yes.
Matt Wood was setting up whatever sound rig he was going to use to do the Grievous voice and stuff. And this is before the panel started. And Zach was sitting next to me, and he's an audio guy, like he knows all the stuff. And so he just starts talking to him because we were sitting like second row, and he goes, "Hey, is that the whatever?" And Matt Wood looks up, and all of a sudden they're talking shop about
Yep.
sound equipment, and I was like, I can't even keep my cool, and I'm not even in the conversation. Like,
Yeah.
so I got to work on that part. If I was at a bar with Sam Witwer, I would just, I don't know, this might be too old of a reference because it's too old even for me, but Chris Farley used to do a bit on Saturday Night Live of a guy that was too much of a fan to do good interviews. And so he would just sit next
Yes.
to famous people and be like, "Do you remember when you made Star Wars? That was really cool." I would turn into that guy. I'd be like, "Do you
Yeah.
remember when you got cast as Star Killer? It's pretty cool."
I mean, in my defense, he was standing at the end of the bar by himself for probably 15 minutes before I got it in me to actually like walk over there and start the conversation. So in my own defense, but yeah, I mean, and I'm a former sound guy as well. So like getting to meet Matt Wood and David Collins and David Acord is coming to this year, and so Ben, when you said Ben Burt, I was like, yeah, man. I would freak out if Ben Burt showed up.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, they've got so many awesome guests already announced. I know that they're going to continue because they haven't even announced headliners.
Oh
yet.
yeah, I guess they haven't, have they?
So I mean, Giancarlo should definitely, if he's not the conversation, he should be right outside the conversation. Yeah. But I'm so excited.
The other one that I'm forgetting, and I'm spacing on his name too, but Carson Teva.
Yes.
I can't remember that actor's name right now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Paul Lee.
Like, you want to talk about a guy living the fan dream. Like,
yes.
his Star Wars
so excited to talk to him.
Oh my gosh. Like, Uncle Iroh, man.
Yes.
Like that guy is just the best. We had on our bingo card of things we were hoping to see in the trailer today. I was just like, give me Carson Teva. Have Carson Teva show up. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I was just trying to manifest that to happen.
I mean, he's in the movie.
Is he in the movie? Is that confirmed?
Well, there's a Lego set that has Sigourney Weaver and him in it. So he has to be, right?
Good pull. Okay.
He has to be, right?
It sounds silly, but you're probably exactly correct. I was afraid it was going to be something that we were going to be at that base and we'd see, like, later on, we'd find out in a visual guide that, like, his X-Wing was docked and he just wasn't on screen or something.
Yeah.
But put our boy on the show. I was so bitter when he didn't show up in Skeleton Crew. Not, like, actually bitter.
Yeah. No,
but when
he
the
should
X-Wing
have.
showed up, I was like, Is it our boy? Is it? Oh, it's not. Boo. Who are these people? I don't care about them.
Yeah,
Give me Carson Teva.
yeah. I I'm so excited to talk to him. But yeah, he has to be in that movie, right? He's like the Nick Fury of this era of Star Wars. Like he's popping up in everything and like bringing people together. And if that
Yeah.
Dave Filoni like Mandoverse team up movie that may or may not be happening or may not be a show or whatever, he's got. I mean, he has to be, right?
I mean, you would think,
He
you
has to
you
be.
would think. A lot of that's
And
probably going
yeah,
to come down to, well, sorry, I was just going to say a lot of that's probably going to come down to the ugly business side of this movie. So,
yeah,
watchers, listeners, if you want to make that movie happen, go see Mando and Grogu. Go see it twice.
yes.
Go see it 5 times.
I'm I'm probably going to see it more times than that. So
Maybe me too. We'll see.
I will see it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Carson Teva, please be in that movie. Please
Yeah.
be in every movie.
Mhm.
Please be in every show. Please be in everything. But yeah, no, I'm definitely excited to talk to him, especially because the movie will be out at that point.
Yeah.
So if he's in it, or I guess if he's not in it, if he's in it, we can tell him how awesome it was that he was in it, and if he wasn't in it, we can tell him how sad we were that he wasn't.
That's a
But
good point.
but I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Fantastic.
Favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh, episode 4, A New Hope. And I know that's a hot take, but for me,
Okay,
it's not close. I love that movie. I absolutely
I
love
love
it.
it. Yeah, no, I that's it's not my number one, but I really think it's my number two.
Fair. Fair.
I will say this though, an experience that changed my perception of that movie because I always
Mm,
liked it, obviously, but the Dallas Symphony Orchestra
mm.
did a thing a handful of years ago where they played the movie, had stripped all of the music out of it, and played the music live.
Yeah.
If you have not gotten to have that experience, please do because it's like you're watching the movie again for the first time. It's bizarre. So you talked at
We
the beginning about not having memory of seeing it for the first time. Go do that and it will feel like you're watching it for the first time. An absolutely just mind-blowing experience to hear that music live as you watch the movie.
Yeah, a quick shout out. My buddy Lance Candler and I went to the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra. Oh, it was sometime late last year because they were doing that for Force Awakens, and
I
it's pretty
wanted to go to that so bad.
it was so much fun. It
Yeah,
was so
dude.
much fun. The conductor told this really cool story about how he was a kid in like elementary school when the first Star Wars movie came out, and he wasn't
Yeah.
really sure what he wanted to do, and he heard that orchestra hit the opening, ba, ba, da, ba, 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 and he's like, I literally wouldn't be standing here today were it not
Yep.
for that moment in the theater in 1977. And so with that, let's start this movie. And he turned around and hit that same note and like turned around and looked at the crowd as he was
Yeah.
conducting. And I was like, so, but yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, love that.
Yeah. Um yeah, A New Hope, you don't hear that often as somebody's favorite. So I'm actually really happy with that answer.
Well, and is it rapid fire or can I expand on that a little bit?
No,
Because
yeah,
I
go
got
no,
takes.
please. No, yeah,
Um,
please.
like everybody says, and they're probably right, that objectively Empire is the better movie. And they might be right. But I go the route where you don't get Empire without A New Hope. And you
For
can't
sure.
ask the heavy questions without A New Hope working to the degree that it does. And you can get into all the nitty gritty of how, like, a lot of that movie is thanks to Marshall Lucas and thanks to a lot of other behind the scenes people. But the amount of things that they got right in that movie are wild. Like
Yes.
that the lightsaber worked at all, that the ships worked at all, that the music was as good as it was, that the sound effects were as good as they were, that the acting, while cheesy and over the top, was as good as it was. This could have very easily been a B movie that nobody ever remembered and then had
Yeah.
2 low budget made for TV sequels because it bombed, right? George
Yeah.
was going to get 2 sequels no matter what. That was in the contract, but they were going to be
Yes.
Splinter of the Mind's Eye and whatever other nonsense, right? It could have failed, and the amount of things that it got right that are so crucial to pop culture and to just
Yep.
like myth in general I like the trench run sequence. I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a second here. The
Please.
end of the trench run with Luke Skywalker, R2 gets taken out. Biggs is dead. Wedge has had to dip for plot reasons. But it's Luke alone, not really knowing if he believes in the Force really yet. Darth Vader is like narrowing his scope on him. R2's dead, so far as we know. 3PO's seeing that nobody cares. All of the plot threads align on that moment with Luke choosing to listen to this weird voice of the guy that he actually met like 3 days before, choosing to believe in faith and believe in something bigger than himself and shut off his targeting computer. And that's when Han Solo completes his character arc as well, believes in something bigger than himself. And it all culminates in that one moment. That's one of the best Star Wars moments ever and one of the best movie moments ever. Every movie needs to, like, that's one of my favorite climactic moments ever. And like you talk about, the music is phenomenal.
Yes.
I got to do the thing. I don't remember who came up with it. It's been all over the internet, but it might have been 2024. But watch A New Hope timed up so we're at midnight on New Year's Eve. The Death Star explodes. I got to do it, and it was a fantastic way to start the year. And that was a year that I started a Star Wars podcast. So meant to be.
There you go.
Took 7 months to actually start the Star Wars podcast. But so all that to say, for all those reasons and more, cheesy as it is, dated as it is, slow as it is at times, A New Hope is my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite movies, period. So there you go.
I mean, a large part of my appreciation for that movie, I think, is the documentary Empire of Dreams. Because, I mean, great documentary. If you haven't watched it, please do.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, when you finally get to see what it took to get that movie made and, you know, see the impact, I mean, it really did change the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds over dramatic, but I mean, it really did. I mean, and yeah, A New Hope, I cannot argue with that at all. I say this is rapid fire. It's rapid fire with elaboration. I
love that. Cool.
But favorite of the shows, because there are so many now. There's animated, live action. There's so many now. You know, used to this question would be really boring because it was like, okay, obviously it's Clone Wars because that's all there was. But now, unless you're gonna say like Ewoks or something,
can you imagine? It's so hard for me. If I had to pick one, for me, it's a fight between Clone Wars and Mandalorian. Andor is an amazing show that doesn't always fit the Star Wars vibe for me, and that's really the only reason it's not the top. And I go into all kinds of rants that you can see on my channel that made a lot of people mad, but it is what it is.
Hey, me too, because I'm known for saying Andor is not for me.
Yeah, and I'm sure you said it the same way. I never wanted to take it away from anybody that loved it. I always said I can't deny the quality, but it is not the same universe as everything else this franchise has ever done, is really what I was saying. So
agree.
And I would take issue, it's dumb, but I would get like defensive of Star Wars when people would say it was the best Star Wars that's ever happened. I'd be like, that just means you don't like Star Wars. That's all that means.
Me too. Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. You, me, same.
Yes.
But if I had to pick one, gosh. If I had to pick, I would say Clone Wars. I think that show is just phenomenal. It's got some valleys.
For sure.
The D Squad with Colonel Meeber Gascon and
that's
all
George Lucas's favorite episode. What are you talking about?
That's my favorite, just like things from outside the Star Wars universe, but like a Star Wars moment of George Lucas being interviewed by Dave Filoni. Dave asking him what his favorite episode was, and he says Echoes from the Void, and Dave just belly laughing and saying like, I knew you were going to say that. And George is like, yeah, it's weird. I loved it. It's one of my favorite things. This is the best thing we ever did.
It's basically THX.
But like even
with droids.
even
Yeah.
weirder. I want to. Now we brought out THX Get Heavy for a second. Rest in peace, Robert Duvall. Shortly before the time of recording, he just passed. The first lead ever in a George Lucas major motion picture,
Yeah.
and sung his praises to a wild degree. But all that to say, yeah, D Squad sucks. I have watched the episodes now, but I am sad to say that at the time when I was when it premiered on TV and I was a Clone Wars weekly watcher, I turned that
Oh yeah.
episode on and I'm watching, going, okay, okay. And Mace Windu looks at the guy that's going to lead this squad, and it's a foot tall plankton from SpongeBob looking guy with a
Yeah.
southern accent. I went, okay, and changed the channel and went and did something else. I have seen those episodes since then, but at the time I didn't even make it past that moment. But
Yes.
even with that, you get the Reiko Hardin arc, which is
Love
underrated
it.
gold. The Malevolence
Absolutely.
arc is classic fun. I
Absolutely.
mean, the Siege of Mandalore is one of my favorite Star Wars things. That's the end of that sentence, right? It
Yes.
is so incredible. The Yoda Vision Quest arc, people
I
forget
just
now.
I just watched those episodes like last week.
Oh, well, hey, here's the biggest takeaway from
Yeah,
that.
dude.
People forget now, but at the time, it wasn't common knowledge at all that Jedi
No.
didn't just all become Force ghosts.
Yeah.
That was how we thought it was before that arc.
Yeah,
And then
for
that
sure.
arc, to the point that all the Jedi are looking at Yoda like he's crazy because he's hearing Qui-Gon's voice. And they like
Yeah.
pray over him for a whole day and meditate with him and stuff. And they're
Yeah.
like, okay, the old man's lost his marbles. I was losing my mind in
Yeah.
2014. I believe it was early 2014 when those episodes
Yeah.
first came out. Um, and people forget that arc is the last George Lucas involved piece of Star Wars. That's the
Yep.
last thing he ever had a say in himself, outside of like bits where telling Ron Howard that Han should just throw the cape down or whatever in Solo, and that bit in the closet, right? That he happened to visit set that day. But that Yoda arc and what it has to say
Yeah.
about eternal life and just Yoda's character in general and the Force in general. There are things on Clone Wars that are my favorite things in all of fiction, on top of things in Clone Wars that I really, really hate. Hate is strong. That I'm just like, this is so cringy. But for the stuff that I love more than other stuff, I think I talked myself into it. It took me a while to get there, but it's Clone Wars.
I you
So
know,
yeah,
I I was born in 98.
right on,
So when the Clone Wars movie came out, I was 10.
right
So
on.
I was like the perfect I was the target demographic for Clone Wars.
Cool.
And I mean, Clone Wars is a lot of times what I say is like my Star Wars. Cuz
Cool.
I mean, I've met the vast majority of the cast at this point, and I was obsessed with that show. I mean,
Mm.
obsessed. I mean, I watched every single episode when it premiered. I had a party at my house for the premiere of season 2. I I left my dad's 50th birthday party early so I could go home to watch the premiere of season 3. All the way to the point where I'm like staying up till 4 in the morning in my college dorm room when season 7 finally came out. Like, yes, Clone Wars has absolutely been weaved into my life for the vast majority of it. But I love that you threw out some underrated arcs. The Obi-Wan undercover arc is like one of my favorites. Another one that you didn't mention that is very underrated and a favorite of mine is the Citadel.
Oh, so good.
So good. Like that
So
just
fun.
feels like Star Wars.
Yeah, it's classic. We're
Yeah.
doing another Prison Break, and I remember, Star Wars fans jump into conclusions. They would do this thing that I'm sure you saw. StarWars.com, they would release images from the episode like a day or
Yeah.
two before it dropped, and I remember
Yeah.
everybody losing their minds of the still from the first Citadel episode where it was like Obi-Wan and Anakin and Ahsoka frozen in
Oh
carbonite.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, because they're all like, Vader, they say it's not safe in episode 5, but it's not a problem. And it's like, no. In
Vader says
Empire,
he'll be fine
well, Vader
because he
says this
knows.
facility, well, he says this facility is crude. Like, this is a bad version of carbonite. This is cheap
Yeah.
stuff, but it'll
Yeah.
probably work, right? But Star Wars fans jump into conclusions. But I wanted to say the Reiko Hardin arc, Obi-Wan Undercover, hey, one of my favorite Star Wars moments as a fan, and Dave Filoni's so good at making a connection through a small thing in the story you're watching that has wide ramifications, right? But the
Yes.
moment of the Reiko Hardin arc ending in Anakin one-on-one defending the Chancellor from Dooku,
Yep.
and I was going, oh, this is cool. And then there's that one push in on Palpatine smiling.
Yes.
And you go, this was the first time he tried to turn Anakin. Episode 3 wasn't the first time. He's
No.
done it at least one other time. Let me get them one-on-one to just see if I can get Anakin to push too far and kill him. And if Obi-Wan didn't show up, if Obi-Wan wasn't the MVP that we know him to be, he could have started turning however long sooner, a year or two sooner.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that.
And it's the kind of thing too where they build stories in that show so well that in that arc, when Obi-Wan gets, spoiler alert, shot off the roof,
Yeah.
I know, because I've seen Star Wars, that Obi-Wan doesn't die in that moment. But for like a split second, it's the kind of thing where I'm watching it, and but it's because it's well shot, even though it's animation. It's well lit. The music is building. The voice acting. For like a split second, you're like, wait a second, what is going on here? Like, did Obi-Wan really just did he die? Like, you have that split second of hesitation, and then you're like, oh no, that's impossible.
Yeah. Good storytelling will make you question things. But one other thing to say on Clone Wars. Sorry, I'm
yes. No.
I'm yapping. But we talked about earlier, the next Star Wars thing not always being your favorite. I will admit, I had a very, very different experience with Clone Wars at first. I was 19 when the movie came out. And so I was peak, it's for kids. I'm not going to watch that. To the point that I didn't go see the movie in the theater. I didn't watch Clone Wars until I discovered Star Wars podcasts, and I don't remember which one I discovered at the time. But they were talking about how good Clone Wars was. And this was the summer before season 4 came out. And I was like, maybe I'll give this
time to jump in.
It was a great time to jump in. And so then that summer, man, I mainlined 3 seasons of Clone Wars into my eyeballs. I tracked down all the DVDs because that's what you had to do back at the time. And found it all and was like, this is really, really cool. I wasn't even a Clone Wars fan until season 4 came out. Because I was the peak energy of, that's stupid. That's kid stuff. Star Wars is dead. I don't think I said Star Wars is dead, but I probably thought it. So, I guess just to all the people that are looking for things to hate about these new things, just dive in. You never know what you're actually going to like. And Clone Wars is probably the best example in the franchise of and you could speak to this, I'm sure, but a story growing up with the audience. I don't
100%.
Yeah. I don't think every show should do that necessarily. Like, it would have been weird if Resistance became something where they're decapitating 4 Mandalorians in one blow, like Ahsoka does in season 4, right? But that it starts with her, she's Snips and Anakin's Sky Guy, and it's kind of silly and wacky and very, very low stakes, and then matures to the point of, the end of season 5 being Ahsoka accused of murder and walking away from the Jedi, where, I'm sitting there going, a cartoon is making me cry. This is crazy.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do. And at this point, I'm gonna have to have you back on to do a whole episode just about Clone Wars.
Let's
But
do it. Would love to. Would absolutely
but
love to.
favorite Star Wars character.
Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker, hands down. Luke Skywalker clears. For me, it's the original trilogy of it all. Just that he is the cheeseball, stereotypical dork that is uncomfortable and that people like to make fun of. And when people make fun of him, I've gotten to the point that I'm like, yo, you're making fun of him because you don't like the way he reminds you of who you were when you were an awkward kid. Like straight
Yeah,
up. That's all it is.
yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
wishes they were Han Solo, and that's why everybody loves Han Solo. You're not, guys. You're Luke Skywalker. Like, make peace with it. But that then he goes on that journey of, like I said earlier, choosing faith in a moment of like life and death peril, where the galaxy quite literally depends on him to choose to believe in something bigger than himself. And then he goes on that journey. I'm going to ignore my masters and save my friends, even though they're telling me I shouldn't go and it's a trap. And then it turns out it's a trap and they have to save him. That then at the end of Return of the Jedi, he's choosing anger again to save his friends because Vader says, oh, you got a sister. Cool. If I don't get you, I'll just turn her.
Yeah.
And that he's again through like altruism and trying to do what he thinks is the right thing to try and react with violence to save someone. He goes, oh, I'm doing what my dad did, and throws his weapon away and then becomes what is to me the truest epitome of what a Jedi is, that I'm going to be a man of peace. I'm going to be a man of compassion and empathy and love. And even though I have no reason to believe that Darth Vader is redeemable at all, I would rather die believing that he could be than live having killed him. Right?
Yeah.
So for that soapbox reason, Luke Skywalker is the GOAT. It does tie into, I'll be so honest, I have very mixed feelings about The Last Jedi. All I'll say is it's a beautiful movie that I don't agree with all the swings that it takes. But for the original trilogy being what it is, and for that journey of him thinking he's going to become a great warrior, but choosing pacifism, he's one of my favorite characters of all time. So there you go.
It's no wonder that you and Will get along.
Yeah. I haven't gotten to hear his full take on Luke Skywalker, but I know that he's a Luke Skywalker guy. So yeah.
Yes, Luke's. I believe that's his favorite character. I could be wrong, but I'm like almost positive. But favorite Star Wars video game.
Ooh, that's mean. That's so hard. But
it's okay.
I gotta
had
go.
Somebody I had somebody say Masters of Terras Kasi last night. So
well, so speaking of Will, we're just gonna keep bringing him up. When him and Grayson came on the show, we kind of impromptu in the middle of the episode. I was like, I don't know, guys, top 5 Star Wars video games, and Will put Masters of Terras Kasi on there, and no judgment, but that's the first time I'd ever heard anybody speak positively of that game. So, you know, whatevs. But I gotta go Jedi Academy. There's something about the wish fulfillment of a 90s Star Wars fan. You're getting to go to Luke Skywalker's academy, get trained by him, and go out on missions in the Star Wars universe. In the Wild Wild West EU New Republic era, which is now kind of the Mandoverse, right? Where things aren't perfect yet. And it's very, very, the galaxy is raw and untamed. But just that whole story. And then the climax, spoilers if you haven't played Jedi Academy, but it's you and a bunch of other Jedi fighting a bunch of Darksiders in a Sith temple on Korriban or Moraband, whatever. Same thing. Like, it's the best. Yes. So
it's funny. I have not played that game. I own it because it just got re-released on PlayStation 4 not that long ago. I own it, but I have yet to play it. So
hard recommend. Like one of the best things about it is like Jedi Outcast, great game. Fantastic game. The levels are very hard. and it'll take you a long time to finish. Jedi Academy, pretty much every level is kind of bite size, and they're all episodic adventures.
There
Like
you go.
there's tiers to it, where when you're
Yeah,
a Padawan, they're like, hey, there's these 4 problems in the galaxy. Which one do you want to go solve first? And you get to pick. Okay, I'm going to go here and deal with this runaway train. I'm going to go here and deal with these superpowered illegal battle droids. You get to pick what Star Wars adventure you're going to go on for that
yeah,
20 minutes to an hour that you have to kill on a Saturday.
yeah.
So, Jedi Academy.
Hard, easy recommend. Okay,
Yeah,
I will definitely move that to the top of the games to play.
right on, dude. Love it.
Um, and you may not have an answer to this. I don't know. I am obviously a Star Wars collector. I don't know if you are as well, but if you are, do you have a favorite Star Wars item in your collecting?
So I am a Star Wars collector. It's something that it's funny, I kind of complain about it sometimes because I don't remember if I said this on mic or off mic, but I'm in my theater academy right now. I'm in a practice room, voice lesson room. There's a piano right there. I don't have a like hutch in my home where I can put up all my Star Wars stuff like you have. Fantastic Star Wars room, by the way. So I've got
Thank
a
you.
lot of stuff. I'm an RPG guy. I have way more Star Wars miniatures than a human should ever have, and I am so thankful that my wife hasn't left me as the collection has grown and grown and grown and grown to a crazy degree, where I have more
Yeah,
than I'll ever use in my role playing games. But I am a Star Wars collector. Um, if I had to pick one,
that's a hard question. I know. As a collector, that's kind of an unfair question for me to ask because I would have a difficult time answering it. I could answer it, but
I, I do have one. It took some thinking. I have a first wave printing Star Wars comics number 3,
oh,
like
that's
from
cool.
1977. And it
Yeah,
for sure, I went and I had gotten it. I got somebody to look at it years ago. I don't remember. And that's the weird thing about collecting comic books is it's in a box somewhere in my room, right? But it is a first printing Star Wars number 3. The cover
that's
is
cool.
Luke and Han and Chewie and Leia in a way more heavy metal version than happens in the movie, running through the Death Star hallways and shooting at a bunch of stormtroopers. Um, that's probably my favorite thing that I have. The other one would be I have a Charles Soule autographed Star Wars number 1 from his comic run that started,
Yeah,
I think 2020, something like that.
yeah,
I didn't get to meet him, but shout out again, Zach, my co-host. He got it from Midtown Comics in New York. Yeah, so it's probably those two. I'm curious,
yeah.
what's your holy grail that you have?
Oh gosh. Well, let me just grab it. Let me just grab it real quick.
Love it. I like
It's
the reveal.
oh, thank you. it it's something that at first glance you'd probably be like, really that? So it's this, and this is a book
Cool.
called The Lightsaber Collection. It came out somewhere around like 2020 ish,
Okay.
and it's got a bunch of lightsabers in it. But the cool thing about this is I've been taking this to conventions since it came out, and there's like over 20 signatures in here
That's
at
cool.
this point. And we were talking about Giancarlo earlier, so I'll see if I can find it. So the dark saber has multiple users, as anybody would know, and I have 4 of them,
Oh, that's
including
cool.
Giancarlo and Katie Sackhoff and Sam Witwer and Tia Sakar,
Wow.
all all together. I've got both Ahsokas, both Ashley Eckstein
Cool.
and Rosario Dawson. Um, I've got James Arnold Taylor, Matt Lanter, John
Cool.
Boyega, uh, both versions of Maul. So there's so Rosario Dawson and
Cool.
for all the Ahsoka series, everybody that loves the Ahsoka series. Ezra has a second lightsaber that he uses in Rebels, but then gets passed on to Sabine. So there we have both live action Ezra and Sabine.
Cool.
Um, and then in the very front, we have Roger Christian, the original creator of the lightsaber.
That's awesome.
So there's, I want to say a little over 20 signatures in here. So anytime somebody's at a convention that has a lightsaber, I try to make an effort to go add them in there. So I've been working on that for a handful of years. So if I was gonna have to like run out and grab something as it's all burning, uh, that's probably what it would be. Um, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that like sticks out. Like I have a lightsaber that I built at Savi's workshop at Disney World,
Me
and like
too.
that,
Yeah.
you know, that whole experience is like will bring any real Star Wars nerd to tears almost, because they have the music cues and all that stuff in there at just the right time
Oh, dude,
to
not
impact you.
almost. I cried.
Oh,
I
I
will
did too.
admit.
I did
I
too.
was like, I was doing everything I could not to cry. Yeah, no, I went to Disney World 2 summers ago, whatever, it doesn't matter, and had that experience. I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
It is a non-starter, non-negotiable, must-do experience as a Star Wars fan. That is
Yes.
overselling it, but still, you know.
I don't think it's overselling it at all. I mean, that experience, you know, you're in a small room with not a ton of people, so it feels
Mhm,
personal.
mhm.
You know, you get to choose your kyber crystal, you get to do all the stuff, and then at the end, I won't spoil it for whoever hasn't done it yet, but there is a particular cameo, I guess I could say, of a character and a certain piece of music that just plays at the exact right moment. And yeah, no, that experience is definitely highly recommend. If you
Yeah,
can get to Galaxy's Edge, please do it. You will
yeah,
not feel sorry. So I mean that that obviously is pretty special just because of the whole experience that goes with it. Trying to think if there's like anything
well,
else
I
that
gotta ask, man, what color's your lightsaber?
when I built it, it was blue.
Yeah.
Um, but I was also the person that couldn't leave without going and buying all the other available crystals, so I can make it whatever color I want to make it.
Cool,
Um,
cool,
but
cool.
in the moment when I was building it, it was blue. But it
Right
has
on.
been every color that they sell
Yeah. Right on.
since
Love it.
then. But do you have a? And I know everybody has one. Do you have a Star Wars hot take? And we were kind of tiptoeing around it earlier, but
Well, I mean, I mean, the my Last Jedi hot take isn't that hot, so I'll say it, but I don't think it counts. It's just that I think that movie is executed so well. I just don't like the story that it tells.
yeah,
That
I
that
don't
that's
think
where
that's a hot take.
that's not even a hot take, right? Like to the
No.
point that like I basically every time it goes one way, I'm like, well, why didn't you just, but I think it's told so well. It is a gorgeous movie to watch. And the way it presents its ideas is like stellar. I just don't like the ideas for the most part. But
Yeah.
my actual hot take, um, and people might get mad at this, but I think had George Lucas made his sequels, they would have been received worse than the Disney sequels were. And I know that's hot. I know that is spicy molten lava Star Wars take. But and I love George Lucas. I think he was named by Forbes magazine this week the number
Four.
4 greatest living American innovator ever, right? And there's reason.
Justifiably so. Yeah, justifiably
100%
so.
justifiably. Without all the Star Wars stuff, non-linear editing, George. Like your ability to edit stuff digitally, George Lucas.
Yes.
Pixar, George Lucas. CGI in general, George Lucas. Movie merchandising, George Lucas. The blockbuster, George Lucas. I'm done. But
Yes.
the way that people talked about the prequels, 1999 through 2005 and beyond, was
Yeah.
with the same level of hatred and vitriol and spice that are directed towards the sequels.
100%.
The difference is we just don't have the receipts. But like I said earlier, I didn't find anyone that liked the prequels until like later in life. Like I had a couple buddies and they come on the podcast all the time, but pretty much everybody hated them. The first time I heard someone say that Revenge of the Sith was their favorite Star Wars movie was 2020. The sequels had come and gone. It had been 15 years since that movie came out. I'd never heard that before. And I was like, what? That is a common take now. That's like,
100%.
Right? But I think that when you hear what George was going to do, and I'm not talking about the Darth Maul and Darth Talon stuff, because I think it's debatable whether or not that would have even been in his sequels, because I think from the things you hear when he was having those ideas, that was about the same time that they ended up putting Maul on Clone Wars. And so I wonder how many of those ideas went there, right?
Yeah.
We'll never know. But I think that when you hear that he was going to get into the microbiotic universe and that it was going to be a series of movies that called free will into question, and that's what it was going to be about for 3 movies, it's like, okay, George is brilliant. And the reason I know that's what it was going to be is because that's the type of idea that it's like, how could you make that a compelling narrative? That's what George was going to do, 100%.
Yeah.
Will always say that he would never do it, but I would give him all of my savings, and I'd get all the savings of all of my friends and everyone that I know to get him to write scripts just so that I could see what he would do, or even just treatments so that we could see on paper what he would have done. But I honestly think had he gotten to make those, they would have been received worse than the Disney sequels. So there's my take.
I mean, had social media and TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff, had all of that been as big of a thing as it is now in the 2000s when the prequels were coming out, it would be exactly the same. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah,
absolutely agree. But
so there you go.
I have a game. If you're down to play a game.
Always, let's do it.
I know Will and Grayson are a fan of doing these, but this is blind ranking.
Yeah, love it.
And I have picked a category at random.
Cool.
And you are going to be blind ranking Star Wars planets.
Okay, cool, awesome.
And you have five spaces.
Okay.
And I've got a bunch written down, and I'm just going to more or less pick them at random.
Cool.
Right. And I'm gonna start with I'm gonna start with an easy one. I'm gonna start with Tatooine.
Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble. Number 1. That's not a strategy for blind rankings, but guys, I know that everybody says Tatooine is overused to the point that Jakku is basically not Tatooine, but
yeah,
Tatooine's awesome. I love that planet. Would never want to live there. It'd be terrible. I hate heat. It's the worst. It's dumb that I live in Texas, but I love Tatooine.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's funny to me how George Lucas picks planets because he's almost like, okay, this one's going to be sand. This one's going to be snow. This one's going to be trees. This one's going to be nothing but water. This one, he just picks a single element and makes an entire planet of that thing. Mm-hmm. And really for, especially the original trilogy, but really into the prequels too, like that's the only way he makes planets.
Well, and it was intentional because he's talked about how he wanted every single planet to be super, super distinct and memorable, that you'd know exactly where you were when you saw it. And I was grumpy when I first heard that Jakku wasn't Tatooine, right? Because we saw the trailer and we all thought, oh, Tatooine, cool, that makes sense. And I was like, what? But then, you know, my short take on this, because I'll talk for forever, is that with the degree of with the amount of stories that we were going to get through Disney, just constant, they had to do away with that and make it to where there were multiple desert planets, because we were running out of biomes. We were running out of climates.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Let's go with, I don't want to stick entirely to the original trilogy, so let's go to Camino.
I'm gonna do what you shouldn't. I gotta tell you, man. I think Camino's super boring. 5.
Oh no, man, we have made the beginning and the end of this list.
Yeah, not a good strategy for blind rankings, but I don't.
This this
It's just a water planet with some clone babies.
this could get very very interesting
Yeah,
as we go on. Um, let's see, what do we want to go to next? Let's we did one from the originals, we did one from the prequels. Let's pick something out of the sequel trilogy.
cool.
Let's go Exegol from
Ooh.
The Rise of Skywalker.
So I've got 2, 3, and 4 left. I
Okay.
might be alone in this. I loved Exegol. I thought it was so cool and so cinematic. Would I have liked for it to be named Korriban or Moraband? Yes, but I liked that it was something distinct and new.
Yeah.
I really thought it was a cool place. I thought that I because I dunked on Last Jedi. I don't really like Rise of Skywalker either. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
For me, it's that I think the story Rise of Skywalker tells is cool, and I think it tells it in a really, really clunky, ham-fisted way. So it's like the opposite of Last Jedi for
Yeah.
me. But with the exception, you know what? Because there's a choir for no reason, I'll put Exegol at 3 and not 2. But I loved that whole setting with the ancient subterranean Sith temple. I thought was so cool. But why they all started singing, I didn't get then, and I don't know that I ever will. It was weird.
I I'm not sure that anybody gets it. I'm not sure that you're supposed to get it.
It was strange. It was just such a strange choice of like, so is that the choir that we always hear singing when something bad happens in Star Wars? That's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Palpatine trains them into being his perfect choir. Anyway,
It's a great Palpatine impression.
thanks, dog.
We started this conversation talking about Mando and Grogu. We saw this planet at the very tail end of that trailer. I'm talking about Navarro.
Oh, see, this is why you leave things. I think Navarro's cool, kind of the lava slash Western planet. I got nothing against it, but because I'm curious what two's gonna be, I'll put it at 4. I got nothing wrong with Navarro. It's a cool little place.
And that means your number two is another planet I would never want to live on, and that is Dagobah.
Hey, I'll take it. Dagoba's cool. Maybe a little boring, maybe a little muggy. Some giant spiders running around if you get into the lore, and I am not down with that. But
Yeah.
hey, I'd like to see what's in the dark side cave for me and try to conquer those parts of myself, you know?
It's interesting because I'm looking at all these Star Wars planets that I have written down, and I'm like, I don't know that there's a single one of these that would be pleasant to live on.
we we talked about that a couple months back because we got a listener question of what Star Wars planet would you like to live on, and Zach was
There's
like,
not a good answer.
"Yeah." Zach was like Endor, and I was like, "Dog, we've been watching the Ewok movies. They got giant spiders and giant dogs and flying monsters and giant like humanoids that'll take you." And he was like, "Okay, maybe not." And then he said Kashyyyk. I was like, "Don't go like low level because they got those terrifying spiders from the Jedi games." And
Yep.
we ended up settling on Chandrilla.
Yeah,
Chandrilla or Alderaan would be chill. You got to maybe deal with that. Your wealth might be oppressing poor people, and that's not great. But they're nice places to live, so far
if
as we
you're on
know.
Alderaan, you're gonna get blown up though.
Yeah, but see, we know that's coming, so we could just leave before that
There you
happens.
go.
We'd be like, wait a minute, it's the start of episode 4. We should bounce.
I mean, I'm
It's the
like,
start of
I'm looking at this, and I'm like, none of these look pleasant.
passage.
Like I see Lothal, and I'm like, okay, great. If the Empire's gone, Lothal would be okay.
Sure.
I see Naboo. I guess Naboo would be
Sure.
okay.
Could
I
be
mean,
pretty.
that's just Italy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so, but other than that, I've got probably 20 written down, and I'm like, all of these would be terrible. They're either covered in snow, which is awful. They're hot, which is also awful. They're covered in lava. They have giant things that will kill you, or which. Congrats to y'all for watching those Ewok movies.
Well, to be fair, we haven't watched the second one, but we watched the first one last year. We're going to watch the second one. We've also seen the holiday special. We watched that
Don't get
Thanksgiving.
me started. Don't get me started.
Oh, yeah, guys. But if you haven't seen it, guys, if you are a Star Wars fan, that is a rite of passage that you have to go through.
I
Literally because the next time someone tells you that whatever Star Wars movie came out is the worst Star Wars movie ever made, you can just look
It's
at
not.
them and
It
shake
can't
your head.
be.
Like, you have no idea how not the worst it is. Because I
I
have seen
I
the holiday special.
yeah, I had a buddy not too long ago that's like he likes Star Wars, but he's not like a big Star Wars guy. He asked me, he was like, I always hear about this holiday special. Is it as bad as everybody says it is? And I said, no, it's not. It's worse. And he was like, it can't be that bad. And I said, okay, you're gonna sit down and watch it. And he watched it for probably 3 minutes. And he was like, no, I'm good. I'm done.
What? Hey, boo. Boo him. Make him finish it. Hey,
Yeah.
but finding something good in every Star Wars, there's a really cool Boba Fett cartoon about halfway through coming out of nowhere. And that so hardcore inspired Mandalorian. He's got the same gun. He's got not quite the same ship, but it's close. And his look is very similar to that version of Boba Fett. So
You notice that animated segment is the only thing that you can find an official version of. It's on Disney. The animated segment's on Disney Plus. So you don't find any of the rest of it there.
yep. And there is reason for that. But
Oh
that
yeah,
said, go on YouTube and watch it because it's so bad. It's not even so bad it's good. It's so bad it's terrible. But if you're a Star Wars fan, hey man, watch it.
it is a rite of passage, and it's a rite of passage that scars all of us for life.
Yeah.
I always laugh at the Harrison Ford was doing an interview on one of those late night talk shows, and somebody asked him about it, and he just wouldn't even acknowledge that it exists. He was like, I have no clue what you're talking about, which it was very clear by the look on his face that he knew exactly what he was talking about. But just yeah, the fact that the people that are involved in it won't even acknowledge that it exists at all
I
it
was
shows you how bad.
I was at Dallas. It was either Dallas Fan Days or Dallas Comic Con or something like that in either 2016 or 2017 because Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, the Joker and Batman from Batman the Animated Series back in my day, that's my
The
Joker and
best
Batman forever.
the best version of Batman and Joker.
Hands down, not even close. Well done. Yes, agreed. The correct take. But anyway, I felt bad because that whole panel was just people asking Mark Hamill Star Wars questions,
Yeah.
and it was kind of you could tell he was getting frustrated. But somebody asked him about the holiday special, and he told some great stories. It was very very short, but he straight up talked about how Lucasfilm people will reach out to him and say, "We really don't want you talking about that."
We
What
don't
they
want you
told him,
acknowledging it at all.
they don't want them to acknowledge that it exists. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
I'm
And then
shocked.
yeah. Well, because he's Mark Hamill, he doesn't care. And I think it was 2017 because he was kind of grumpy. I think he had just finished shooting Last Jedi, and so he was kind of grumpy about the whole thing.
Yeah,
But anyway,
that's
anyway,
funny. But we obviously talked a lot about Mando and Grogu at the start of the show, but even beyond that, with Maul Shadow Lord coming, Ahsoka season 2 probably this year, Starfighter coming next year, more stuff even beyond that is either announced already or rumored or all but confirmed. There's so much, hopefully, coming our way. What kind of take the recency of the trailer that came out this morning, I guess, out of it. But what of all the upcoming projects has you the most excited?
So I'm gonna be, you know, people still watching by now know that I can talk a lot. So I'm gonna invoke the rule of two. But of things that are for sure confirmed happening, um, I do think it's Mando and Grogu. Probably mostly because I'm just so excited to be in the theater again. I'm still
Yes.
partially bitter that Disney pivoted from a movie every year to shows all the time. Shows are great.
Yes.
I miss Star Wars in the theater. There's just something
Me too.
about that. I'm so excited to see Mando and Grogu, dude. I just like
Yes.
I can't divorce that experience from my hype for the movie. It's one and the same for me. I can't wait to sit there with the biggest thing of popcorn I can get and just watch Star Wars on the big screen, just like a kid. It's gonna be great.
Hey,
But
hey, let's tell me when when and where you're going to see it.
let's do it. It'll
Let's
it'll
do it.
probably be I've got buddies all over the metro. So let's find some place
Yeah,
like
let's do it,
localized and
man.
just send on a
Let's
theater.
do
That
it,
sounds
man.
fantastic. Let's for sure. And then I
Yeah,
think I am gonna fly to New York and see it with Zach, but we'll see.
yeah,
But I'll see this multiple times, like we talked about.
yeah.
But I think honestly, I'm very, very bitter. Oh, I can't choose. I'm gonna say it. There are
No,
two
that's
things
okay.
that I don't know are gonna get to happen, but I am equally hyped for both of them. The the James Mangold Dawn of the Jedi movie. Holy
Yeah,
crap! Like that, he basically pitched that as 10 Commandments in Star Wars.
yeah.
Like that, it's a biblical epic about the beginning of the Jedi Order. That sounds like the most perfect Star Wars movie I've ever heard, and I
Yes.
am desperate to watch it. I'm so bitter it's in development limbo. That sounds like everything I would ever want out of a Star
Yeah.
Wars movie, me personally, in many, many, many ways. But then the
Yes.
other one, and I don't know if this is gonna happen either, is the Rey Skywalker movie, man.
Yeah.
Um, there's all kinds of reasons these things are in development hell now. The biggest reason is that those two movies and the Filoni flick got announced right before a very unexpected 9-month entertainment strike,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So they couldn't work on them in that time. But I talked about it on our show. Um, we have seen the Star Wars, why I want the Rey thing to happen. We have seen the Star Wars story a lot of a young person um, growing up and taking their journey into the new world, right? Like Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
and Ahsoka, right? Becoming becoming themselves and then stepping out into the world. We have yet to see the next part of that journey, which is
Yeah.
now you know who you are and you are in the position to actually affect the wider world. Like
Yeah.
it is Rey Skywalker trained, capable Jedi that is now the one that people are
Yes.
looking to. Not where she's old enough that she's the Obi-Wan Kenobi or the aged Luke Skywalker or the Qui-Gon Jinn, but she is the in-between. She's the
Yes.
adventuring knight Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker that we read a whole bunch of books about when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to see that part of the journey on screen, and I think we need that part of the journey. My beef with the character of Rey aside, I got nothing against Daisy Ridley. I think she's phenomenal. The way she was written didn't really always hit for me, but I would love to see that next chapter of the hero's
Yeah.
journey, right?
Yeah.
So I gave you 3 answers and you asked for one. Sorry, man, but
No,
you know,
that's absolutely okay. I love going off on the tangents, so
yeah,
that is
for sure.
absolutely okay. I'm very curious to hear how you're going to answer this next question
Okay,
because this is always one of my favorites because so in a hypothetical universe. Now
fantastic.
this used to be Kathleen Kennedy, but now it's not. Now it's Dave
Ah,
Filoni. If Dave Filoni came to you and said, Matt, you can come up with absolutely anything you want in the world of Star Wars movie, show, live action, animated, book, comic, video game, theme park attraction, casting decision, anything you say in the next 2 minutes,
oh boy. Okay.
Lucasfilm is powerless to say no.
Dangerous.
What are you putting on the table? What is happening?
So this is as many things as I can say in 2 minutes, or I got to pitch one thing.
You approach that and answer it however you want. If you want to pitch multiple things, go right ahead. If you want to pick one and really zero in on it, I will let this be an open-ended question.
All right, so I'll do 2 rapid fire, and then the one that I do actually want to see happen. Acolyte season 2, non-negotiable.
Okay, perfect.
Non-negotiable. Just give us that story because we need the canon version of Darth Plagueis. Period. Full stop. We just need that.
I have a pitch for that I'm going to give you after this.
Do it. I'm here for it. It's funny. There was a while where Zach and I were writing a fan fiction pitch of Acolyte season 2, and then like so many things, it kind of fell by the wayside. We might pick that back up and do it, but neither here nor there. Just kind of read it like basically to the screen, right?
Yeah.
But Acolyte season 2, if not season 3 and 4 and beyond. But oh gosh, there's so many. I'll limit. Acolyte season 2, a Darth Bane movie, because we need to see the Rule of Two told on screen. Yeah. Period. And I have a way to do that and to make it. The problem is it's not a direct adaptation of the novels at all. So I kind of feel weird about it because if you're going to take the name and not tell the story, like you shouldn't really do that. You should do something else. But basically my reason for the Rule of Two happening would be a betrayal by a Sith that he trusts closer than anybody else. Right. And that person tries to kill him and take over. And he's like, oh, I get it. This just doesn't work. And then kills everybody. Yeah. And it's the one, apprentice. And he's like, we're going to get it. We're going to get involved in the Senate. That's how we're going to do this. But either way. But the biggest thing that I am truthfully very criffing bitter that it has not happened is a Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy animated show with Mark Hamill voicing Luke Skywalker. You have a treasure trove of EU stories to pull from and so many other just canon ideas to pull from.
Yeah.
But why that hasn't been an animated show is crazy to me. But what I would say is, hey, all right, Mr. Filoni, finish the Mandoverse, right? Get to where we get to that movie, button that story, finish it. And then for the next era of Star Wars, it is the Ben Solo Jedi Apprentice story. However you need to tell that story. Because it's one of the weirder things in the sequel trilogy that we start and he's already turned. And the bedrock of that whole trilogy is that the relation between Ben and Luke went bad. I would like to see that relationship. And I would like to see it fall apart. Sorry, the end of the day is getting to me. But And I want to see Luke training Jedi and going on adventures. And I ranted about the Jedi Academy game earlier, but a Jedi Academy animated show with Luke Skywalker doing the promise that we were given in Return of the Jedi of Yoda saying, pass on what you've learned. Throw Cal Kestis on there. Throw Grogu on there. Throw Ahsoka on there. Give me Sabine. Give me Ezra. I'm not saying as main characters, make them cameos, but similar to Ahsoka on Clone Wars, if I can get the right deal, Ben is your lead character, and he's being trained by Luke. But you get kind of the inverse of Ahsoka and Anakin, where Ahsoka is staying on the path, and Anakin starts to fall. It's Luke is pretty much on the path. Obviously, he does a bad thing like all Skywalkers do because he reacts impulsively to save his friends. Yes. But Ben isn't quite working out. I think that would be an amazing animated show.
I agree.
So there's my actual pitch.
Yeah, that absolutely works, and I would absolutely love to see that.
I'm just hoping one day.
Yeah, I have so many like ideas that I want to do, and I'm just like, there's so many things, there's so many avenues that you could go down, I definitely have an Acolyte pitch, and and even if you wanted to do this as a, the Tales format where it's only 3 episodes,
cool.
This is how I want it to work.
Cool.
It's your main character is Chimere, obviously, because I think he's arguably the best part of that show. The first episode, you see Plagueis, and then you have Chimere and a young Palpatine kind of back and forth butting heads to see who is going to be the apprentice of Plagueis. And by the end of that first episode, Chimere very clearly knows that it's not going to be him that Plagueis chooses, and he knows that with the rule of 2, if he sticks around, he's not going to live. So he bails. And the end of the first episode is him going into hiding out in the Outer Rim. The second episode is Chimere in hiding. You can have a little bit of a time jump if you want to, but him out in hiding, founding the Knights of Ren. Founding them, getting them started. We've seen in comics and stuff that they kind of survive in the shadows by making deals with Crimson Dawn and whoever. So you see Chimere kind of teaching them, this is how you're going to survive.
Yeah.
And that's the second episode. And the third episode, this is where it really gets crazy. Because the third episode is Palpatine going to Dathomir to get Maul, baby Maul. But when he gets there, Chimere's there too. And Chimere also wants Maul to kind of swing the balance of the dark side back into his favor. And you have an awesome duel between Palpatine and Chimere, and it ends with Chimere's death, and Palpatine gets Maul and goes off to what we know of Phantom Menace.
I love everything you're saying. Give me one moment so I can grab something to make my point. Because that's awesome. Give me 1 second.
Yes, please.
Work the reveal. I think
yes, please.
I don't have a lot of money, but take it. I would like for you to take this money and make that show.
And then
that sounds perfect.
If we're really just gonna flesh it out, the other 3 episodes in that Tales season, if we really want to just go into it, the other 3 episodes of that Tales season, I want to be Baylan and Shin.
Ooh.
The first episode is Baylan surviving Order 66. The second episode is him finding Shin. And then the third episode is what leads them to working with Morgan and Ahsoka. And there's your tales of whatever you want to call it.
I mean, it could be just Tales of the Dark Side. You know what I mean?
There's my, please take it and make it a thing.
Please give us the Star Wars that we want. That's what we'll say. That sounds dope. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and the only thing that I think is really realistic to happen eventually with the Acolyte is that Charles Soule is going to tell a Chimere comic series.
Yeah.
And it'll be some version of that story. Because he was the guy that has written every comic featuring the Knights of Ren, from the Rise of Kylo Ren to bringing them into the original trilogy era and his Star Wars run, all the Crimson Empire stuff that you mentioned. And Vader says when he meets them, he's like, you guys, basically says in better words, you guys used to be a big deal. How far you've fallen. Yeah. So you could have Chimere and Knights of Ren fighting Jedi at some point to a high profile degree. And that doesn't change anything that the Jedi say in the prequels, because all they say is that the Sith haven't been around. They don't say the dark side hasn't been around in any way. So
I would also find it ironic if we see Chimere competing with Palpatine and then forming the Knights of Ren, and then by the time of the Rise of Skywalker, the Knights of Ren are basically working for Palpatine.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
So all that Chimere competed for and built up ultimately ends up working for Palpatine anyway.
Cameron, that's fantastic, and I would like to buy that show.
Yes.
So
please, I will. Don't buy it. It is yours. I bestow it upon you.
In this hypothetical universe, I'll be like, Cameron also has a great pitch. You have to do it too.
Yes.
There we go.
But what to kind of wrap it up? What does the future for Force of Others hold? What's coming up in the near future that you want to talk about? What's the hope for the future of the show?
Well, I don't remember what we talked on off mic and on the air here, but everything I wanted to make was a space for as many different people as possible to give their Star Wars hot takes, and really just to give their Star Wars life takes. Like, what the message of the show is. Every time I do an interview, I want to find out what Star Wars means to you, whoever I'm talking to. Because you've heard me, I can yap about it all day long. And a lot of the show is me yapping and Zap going, Zap, and Zach going, great. you know,
Yeah,
just to have as many people, to give the mic to as many different people as possible. We got fun stuff coming up. Sometime soon, we're going to have, I interviewed Sam, the Jawa Den, on Instagram. Great interview. And he's got a YouTube
yeah,
channel coming that he was telling me about. And he talks about that interview's coming sometime. It'll probably be out by now. I just sat down with Imperial Remnant last week. I think I said this to you off mic, and we talked about Stranger
yeah.
Things, of all things, because
Yes.
I've been so busy. We finally got to that. But other stuff coming. I don't know if I'm going as press, but I'm going to Space Con San Antonio with a buddy for sure. And we're going to try and meet Ian McDiarmid and I was about to call him Anakin Skywalker and Hayden Christensen. Very excited about that. If I can be
Yeah.
there as a content creator, then I will be. And you people on YouTube will see our stuff. And if not, then I'll just be walking around like a normal person, still having a ball. But as for stuff for the future, I got no plans to stop talking about Star Wars anytime soon. Whether or not anybody's listening, is I love this franchise, and contrary to what my dad told me when I was 10, I always will. And
Yes.
so there you go. But
Yeah.
follow all of Cameron's stuff. Follow Limitless Nerd. I meant to ask you. I know you're wrapping up, but the
No,
name
that's okay.
Nerd, that is a
Uh-huh.
cool name for a channel and for a
Thank
brand.
you.
What inspired? Was there anything that inspired that?
Um, it's funny. You're not the first person to be like, "That's a cool name. Where did it come from?" And I'm like, to be totally honest with you, I there's not really a good answer. There's not really like a deep emotional story behind it. I was kind of coming up with what do I want the message of everything that I'm doing to be,
Yeah.
and it kind of boiled down to, you can, no matter if if you're a fan of even the smallest thing, you are a fan just like everybody else.
Mhm.
You don't have to like this particular thing or this particular character. If there is a Lego Star Wars minifigure that you were given as a gift and it brings you joy and you want to call yourself a Star Wars fan for that reason and that reason alone, you are a Star Wars fan just like I am, just like you are, just like anybody is. And it got to the point. So once I had that, I was like, what do I name that?
Mm.
And, you know, being a nerd with nothing limiting you is kind of where it came from. And then it kind of, turned into Limitless Nerd, obviously. And that's where it came from.
Right on. Hey, that is a deep reason. That is an emotional reason. That's a good reason. I get so tired of gatekeepers. It's so stupid.
Like I
Like,
said earlier, it just sounds exhausting to
yes.
just to be that way all the time.
Like, I'll give you, and you guys get, if anybody starts following Force of Others after this, you'll see I can get real spicy in comments sometimes. If people, come into my yard and tell me that I'm stupid, I'll be like, okay, check it out. That is actually not correct, or, whatever. And then if they're like, the EU is always canon, I'm like, okay, here's the thing, you know. But if stuff like that, then I'll, kind of twist off.
Yeah.
But the idea of telling someone they're not a fan when they don't like the stuff that you like, come on,
Yes.
dog, that's silly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, none of this is real. Oh, right? Your real life is what's real, and what it means to you is what matters. Like,
What? Luke Skywalker's not real?
if he was, I would want to hang out with him all the time, and I would be devoted to Jedi training, except for how I'd want to stay married because I love my wife. But, anyway. So yeah,
But yeah, I mean, and that's the whole. This is not about monetization. This is not about numbers. This is not about followers, subscribers, all the, all the words that people. I don't care about any of that. I love Star Wars. I want to talk to other people that love Star Wars. Do we have to, we don't have to agree on everything. You can have your opinion. I will have my opinion. I'm not going to try to change your opinion. If I tell you something that does, that's kind of on you. But,
right.
I just want to have cool, positive, fun conversations with people about something that I love and something that you love. And
Right on.
that's it. That's it.
Love it, dude.
Plain and simple, but Force of Others, where can people find you?
Yeah. So at Force of Others podcast on Instagram, and I think it's, or I don't know, it's something like that. If you look up Force of Others on Instagram and YouTube, we're gonna appear. I don't remember what our ats are, because
It'll
that's how
be
good
it'll
I
be
am at
down there.
marketing. There we go. It'll be in the doobly doo beneath us as we speak. But Instagram, YouTube, those are the main places. I try to post every day. I am not always successful. I can
Yeah,
tell you
I'll
right
never
now.
I'll never get to that, so don't worry. If you're
You
doing
know,
it every other day, you're still doing better than I am.
hey, I saw a content creator said one time, if you want to, like you said, the healthy outlook is likes and subscribers, they don't matter. And it's true that they
No.
don't, but I also think this is really fun.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we try to post stuff pretty often, and you can watch us on YouTube, and you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple, basically wherever you get your podcasts. And for sure, every Friday for the foreseeable future, there will be a Force of Others episode up for you to listen to on YouTube or on all those podcast things. Oh, the other big thing that we have coming that's in the chamber, I mentioned earlier that I'm an RPG guy. We've done 2 Star Wars RPG one-shots. You can find them on our YouTube and Spotify and everywhere else. We did an Order 66, and then we did like a Scum and Villainy escape from Jabba the Hutt type deal. We've got another one coming where it's going to be Dark Side, and we're raiding Darth Vader's castle in the sequel trilogy.
Ooh,
And I'm working
okay.
on a long-running, like Critical Role style, not to that quality. Don't expect that, but a long-running Star Wars RPG campaign that'll be coming out from time to time. And I
Okay.
am excited. So there you go. I don't know when
All
that's
right.
coming, but it's coming. So
Very nice. Very nice.
yeah,
Matt, thank you so much for coming on, hanging out, talking about Star Wars, talking about Clone Wars and Mandalorian and everything else. Um, you will definitely have to come back on at some point
sure,
down the
dude.
line, um, because this was a blast. Thank you so much for your time and coming on. If you aren't following Force of Others, please do so. It'll be tagged in the video if you're watching it in one place. It'll be in the description if you're watching it in another place. It'll
Cool.
be somewhere. It'll be somewhere attached to wherever you are watching this currently, wherever that particular media decides to put it today. But thank you so much for coming on and hanging out, and we will definitely do it again in the future. There are more new episodes coming very, very soon. But until the next time, may the force be with you, and
And
you
also
may.
with you.
There you go.